Climate change is one of the biggest threats facing humanity today. The Earth is getting warmer faster than ever, and the consequences are dire. Melting glaciers, rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and much more that is affecting our lives and livelihoods. What can we do to change this world in crisis? One university in Singapore is showing the way. Here at Nanyang Technological University, or NTU, faculty members are researching solutions to tackle climate change. Students are acting on their passions and preparing for a career in sustainability. And the campus is a model of sustainable urban development for the world.
One of our goals is to make NTU campus a living testbed for technologies that have been invented so that we can help to see through that translation from the lab bench to real life. And we really want to walk the talk.
And walking the talk was something that NTU did again with its newest building on campus.
Gaia, which is built using timber that's sourced sustainably. The construction process was also much more environmentally conscious in terms of energy consumption and so on.
Named after the Greek goddess of the earth, Gaia is one of several zero-energy buildings found on NTU's campus. In fact, with a total of 8 out of 22 such buildings island-wide, NTU has the most number of zero-energy buildings owned by a single entity in Singapore.
This building, Gaia, is one of Asia's largest wooden building structures spanning about 43,500 meters squared. The entire architecture has a concept of an open space construction where you see that there's direct sunlight coming into a lot of common spaces, and this kind of wooden structure construction is using what is called as mass engineered timber, or MET, which helps to reduce carbon footprint by 20 to 30% as compared to a conventional building structure. The energy consumption of this building is entirely supplied by 800 PV modules. And in addition to that, a passive displacement ventilation system, which reduces the overall energy consumption by about 15%. Our classrooms are smart classrooms, which also contributes to about 10 to 15% energy reduction in the entire building.
Compared to a normal building, Gaia produces 2,500 fewer metric tons of carbon dioxide, the equivalent of taking 550 cars off the road annually. Beyond developing green buildings, NTU wants to achieve carbon neutrality by 2035. To this end, it aims to attain 100% Green Mark certification for all eligible buildings. It is also working towards a 50% reduction in net energy use, water usage, and waste generation by 2026, compared to baseline levels in 2011. These ambitious plans are part of its 15-year Sustainability Manifesto. To realize its goals, NTU established a 1 billion Singapore dollar medium-term note program in 2021. It made the news on the day it was launched.
Sustainability-linked bonds issued by the Nanyang Technological University were oversubscribed on its first day. It is the world's first publicly offered green bond issued by a university.
Sustainability is at the core of everything we do. NTU, being a research-intensive university, is committed to finding solutions towards these challenges for a better world. And our approach in sustainability is an whole-of-system integrated approach where we are looking at sustainability across education, research, community engagement, and also campus infrastructure.
In 2023, NTU won the International Sustainable Campus Network's Whole Systems Approach Excellence Award. This coveted award recognizes outstanding achievements in sustainability by higher education institutions worldwide. Driven by a sense of purpose, NTU has made notable contributions to the global sustainability landscape.
Sustainability is about securing the future for our planet Earth for future generations. Now, as a global citizen, we have to play our part. The purpose or the primary mission of a university would normally be in education, research, innovation. And we must infuse that responsibility into our core mission. So that's why sustainability plays a large part in our education. We want to make sure that we inculcate the right mindset, the right values, and also to equip the students so that they become knowledgeable and sensitive about sustainability. Universities are also knowledge creators. Different groups with different types of knowledge create a novel solution that addresses sustainability challenges. That is what we want to do.
As a research-intensive university committed to advancing sustainability, NTU is making waves far beyond our shores. In February 2023, Professor Ben Horton led an NTU team on a study trip to Antarctica. They were the first group of scientists from Singapore to set foot on the white continent. Antarctica accounts for almost 90% of the total ice volume on Earth. But its ice sheets are melting fast. Scientists have projected that if the global mean temperature were to rise above 1.5 degrees Celsius, this could trigger the collapse of the West Antarctic ice sheet and raise sea levels by 3 meters. Melting ice sheets therefore pose an existential threat to many coastal communities and low-lying island nations, including Singapore.
Going to Antarctica is really to conduct some science that had not been conducted by any other international team ever. And that was to start to collect samples of the atmosphere to look at the DNA of microbes. Antarctica is an ice sheet. To understand it, you have to understand the inputs and you have to understand the outputs. The outputs are the melting of the ice sheet. The inputs are rainfall or snowfall. By collecting microbes, we can have a fingerprint of where the rainfall and the snowfall is coming from. The second reason of going to Antarctica is for Singapore to be part of the international scientific community, trying to address one of the climate emergencies of our time. And then our third objective is communication. We wanted to illustrate the Antarctic ice sheet will influence every single person in Singapore and every other low-lying nation.
In Antarctica, there is enough water captured in its ice sheets to raise global sea levels by over 60 meters. If the ice melts by even a small percentage, the resulting sea level rise can flood Singapore and cause devastating effects. This dire reality hit home for NTU student Tan Fang Yi while she was on the expedition.
The biggest takeaway for me from the Antarctica trip was just how fragile the whole environment is. I do see like the fractures in the ice sheets, things that I read about, and I see it right before my eyes. This gives me a very stark reminder that, we are really in a climate crisis.
Once back in Singapore, the air samples they collected were sent to a laboratory at NTU's Singapore Center for Environmental Life Sciences Engineering for analysis. Meanwhile, the team is continuing their work on an extensive research program on sea level changes.
We've been running this Southeast Asian sea level program only for a few years, but we've made some startling discoveries. Mangrove ecosystems live directly at sea level. We identified that if sea level rise gets greater than 6 millimeters per year, there is a 90% chance that those mangroves will submerge and drown. Currently, the rate of sea level rise is around 3 to 4 millimetres per year, so we haven't got much wiggle room. If you go on a high emission future, all those advantages of nature-based solutions are lost because in 20 or 30 years, you get above 6 millimetres per year and they drown.
Earth's future seems bleak, but could there be a silver lining? Can nature adapt to changes at sea? These NTU students are about to find out.
The purpose of our outing today to Keppel Marina is really to try to understand the resilience of nature. This one is pretty good.
Corals are actually hardier than a lot of others, like in the Great Barrier Reef and stuff, simply because our waters are warmer.
What's remarkable about this reef system is a young reef growing on completely man-made structures. It really is to show how, if we can manage the environment correctly, you can get nature re-establishing.
Corals play an important role in nature. They provide homes for diverse marine life, support the ocean food web, protect coastlines from storms and floods, and more.
I didn't know Singapore had so much variety of corals. The different algae, so you saw brown, pink, and green algae, as well as like hard and soft corals.
You usually don't expect to see such coral reefs that are so beautiful and so colorful right on our shores. So that was a very amazing experience.
Field trips like this are a key part of learning for NTU students, such as those at the Asian School of the Environment, or ASE.
The marine life here adapted to like the hotter environment that Singapore has to offer. We can learn from this and try to adapt.
And as long as we continue to expose and open ourselves to learn more about it, nature is actually our classroom.
What's so unique about the Environmental Earth System Science degree program at NTU? One is that all the students, they are given a very strong foundation, chemistry, physics, mathematics, computer coding and everything, to give them the sort of skills to be able then to apply it in very different ways. The second, I think, unique thing is that there's a very strong emphasis on trying to connect the concepts in the classroom and all of those technical skills that they're learning in the lab, and then to apply that in the real world. Many of the classes that we do teach are open to students from across, not just the College of Science at NTU, but also from the NTU community at large.
NTU alumna Louisa May Fung is an environmental and social governance analyst. When she was an undergraduate, she had an intensive study experience in Bali.
Being able to learn outdoors and really experience all the things that I've been learning in the classroom was just like really eye-opening. And I think that really helped me to appreciate and understand like the need for conservation and nature protection, and that has kind of like shaped my aspirations. My role now is to ensure that the environmental and social performance of a project is compliant with national and international standards. I want to be able to promote sustainability and bring about positive outcomes for the environment. So being able to be in this field of sustainability is definitely my biggest contribution to like this goal of being able to promote sustainability in this world.
At NTU, we have a duty to the world at large to go out and then do something for that wider community. And our best hope is really to equip these young people, not just with the skills, but with the heart and the passion to go out and do something.
While many NTU alumni are protecting the environment by choosing careers in this field, its students are also seeding change in the community. In February 2023, Elijah Gobe and his team from Earthlink, a student environment club, rallied the NTU community to plant 100 trees on campus.
I believe NTU's identity as a university is very closely tied to nature. So actually, NTU is home to over 400 species of animals, and 2 of them are critically endangered because we are located near the Western Catchment Forest. So I believe that as we plant more and more trees, over time I hope we can establish enough green areas where this wildlife will be able to have a more wider variety of like food sources and resting areas. So over time we're able to aid the connectivity of the Western Catchment Forest as a whole. And besides that, by getting the NTU community to come down for tree planting events, We hope that they'll gain a sense of responsibility to maintain the NTU campus for future generations of NTU students. I think that is very important for sustainability.
Tree planting is just one of the many activities of NTU's largest sustainability club. During its month-long Green for Good campaign in March 2023, Earthlink members organized a slew of activities, including workshops, competitions, exhibitions, dialogue sessions, beach cleanups, book launch, recycling drive, and guided nature walks in the campus.
I believe that each of us actually has the ability to leave behind a positive impact, and this positive impact can actually reverberate and extend on to others. If I'm able to care for my environment and I show others that they have the ability to care for the environment, we are able to preserve the environment for future generations to enjoy.
NTU, one of the world's greenest university campuses, has set its sights on achieving carbon neutrality by 2035. Beyond creating a sustainable campus, it is helping to make communities around the world safer and more sustainable. NTU's Nanyang Environmental and Water Research Institute, for one, is at the forefront of its field. Its scientists are using their expertise to help underprivileged communities in Asia tackle environmental and water pollution by providing education and affordable and effective solutions. Some of the technologies its researchers have developed can help cities save energy by treating wastewater efficiently, or use human cells to detect toxic compounds in water bodies, or even turn rubbish from the campus into useful construction materials. And at this remote sensing lab, NTU researchers are collaborating with the United States National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, to monitor the Earth's surface around the clock. This is in order to map hazards, disasters, and environmental crises using advanced satellite imaging.
This microwave signal penetrates cloud, rain, fire, smoke, even volcanic plume. That means we can see what's happening on the Earth's surface, ground, 24/7. There's no blockage. When a disaster event hit, remote sensing is a useful tool to produce an image of a large area and give us a critical information of what's going on.
Now this shows the damage proxy map that we generated in Kahramanmaraş, Turkey.
Right after Turkey and Syria earthquake, we produced what we call damage proxy map derived from this radar remote sensing data that shows which buildings are damaged. Within 10 days, we covered about 204,000 square kilometers, which is 280 times the size of Singapore.
The color pixels here represents from yellow to orange to red represents increasingly more severe damage.
Such maps produced by the team provide vital data to agencies involved in disaster relief and rescue operations. This is one way NTU's researchers are helping communities beyond Singapore. Another way is using remote sensing to monitor areas like peatland around the globe.
Peatland is a good and high concentration of carbon over thousands of years. The question is, how do we smartly manage them? If we, for example, mess up with the peatland, we can release a lot of CO2 gas into the air, and that would accelerate the global warming. So in that sense, it's important to monitor what's going on using satellite, because the spatial extent of them is large. We can produce a synoptic view of the change of forest and peatland, and then provide measurement for voluntary carbon market, for example, and then policymaker to make decision based on the observations and measurements.
With the growing effects of climate change, the need for world-class research centers like these at NTU has never been more crucial. The United Nations has warned that the planet is heading for climate catastrophe. NTU's scientists are determined to do even more in the fight to mitigate that.
We can be part of the conversation of sustainability of Singapore, the Green Plan, providing data on how to monitor the water, how to monitor the air, how to preserve our biodiversity, what are the threats of sea level rise. We have over 170 research stations located in 8 different countries of Southeast Asia, all the time collecting data continuously. And then the data and the discoveries can help sustainability of the whole of the planet.
Climate change is the biggest challenge facing humanity today. The Earth needs urgent climate action. At NTU, collective efforts to lead change through education, research, community engagement, and campus design and development are making a world of difference. And not only in the domains related to our earth and water, but also energy, the environment, waste, and food security.
We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, but we are just borrowing it from our future generations. So for me, sustainability is a way of living. It's leaving the earth a better place than when I came.
Becoming more sustainable is something that we all really need to engage with because this is our future at stake.
When we put our minds and hearts together, that we can actually begin to reach that critical mass of understanding. We can begin to make a difference if we do it strategically and with passion.
It is important for every individual, business, government to be involved to help make our planet much more livable, not just for this generation, but for generations to come.